Hello, everybody. With the new Descent of Dragons expansion just a few days away, I thought I would put out my own official card review. So let's get right into it. First, let me explain how I'm going to be rating these cards. So I'm not going to rate these cards by stars or tiers or anything like that. I'm just going to put them in several different categories. The first of which is competitive. And to me, that means the card will be in a tier 1, 2, or 3 deck fairly consistently. So that's my definition of a competitive card. And just below competitive, we have what I would call the fringe cards. These are cards that are sometimes in competitive decks, but alternate in and out of them. So still a good card, but not quite the cream of the crop of the competitive cards. So that's a fringe card. And then below the fringe cards, we have the garbage cards. These cards, you can call them pack filler, you can call them arena cards. These cards will not be in competitive decks consistently at all. So that is the definition of a garbage card. And then below the garbage cards, we have the tech cards. These are cards that are definitely only meta dependent if they'll ever see play. So there's only a few of these, but I thought they deserve their own separate category because they may be in competitive decks later down the line if we need to tech against something that's oppressive. And lastly, what I'm looking forward to the most, the meme and combo cards. So there aren't very many of them this expansion, but I'll try to highlight some and give you a few of my thoughts on some of the more special cards of the set. So let's get into it. All right, let's kick things off with Druid. So from a bird's eye perspective, Druid received support for basically three different archetypes. I would say they're a small aggro Druid, kind of a token style Druid, a dragon Druid, and a Treant Druid. So let's look at the cards more closely and see if these decks will actually become viable. So the first card is Embiggen, which is a 0 mana spell. Give all minions in your deck +2/+2. They cost 1 more up to 10. So I think this card kind of lives in two different places. It can obviously go in a smaller aggro token style druid, where it's kind of like the Prince Keleseth effect, even faster than Prince Keleseth because you can play it on turn one, whether you're going first or second. So huge bonus there. It does have a significant downside with the increased mana cost, but I think if you're catering your deck to run very, very cheap minions, as in, the overpowered 1-drops, overpowered 2-drops, I think this can still work. And of course, your spells that generate minions aren't affected by this at all. So I think this will definitely lend support to a competitive, smaller aggro druid. So I would classify this card as a competitive card. Definitely competitive. Alternatively, this card could go into a quest druid build. It doesn't mess up your early game mana curve because it costs 0, so that's nice. But the only problem with this card is that Quest Druid doesn't typically run that many minions, but it would obviously help buffing your Oasis Surger and even the Anubisat Defender, which would become a 0 mana 5/7 taunt, assuming you get the spell activation. So I think it could fit in Quest Druid, but it's probably unnecessary in Quest Druid. But even so, like even if you top deck this card late game in Quest Druid, it's not that big of a downside to play because again, you don't play that many big minions. And of course, Kuhn will be rotating out, so your biggest minion's gone. So typically the biggest minion that even sees play in Quest Druid is either Cenarius or the King card that launches the minions from your spells. So that would still cost 10 anyway, and Cenarius would just move up to 10. So I don't see a big downside in playing it late game either, honestly. It's just a question, do you need it in Quest Druid? And the answer is probably not. So I think this still mostly fits in the small aggro token Druid, and I think it'll be very strong there. So still competitive card for sure. All right, the next card is called Secure the Deck. It is a Druid side quest. Attack twice with your hero. Reward, add 3 claw spells to your hand. The claw spell is what we've seen classically. It's the 1 mana, gain 2 attack, 2 armor this turn only. So I don't think this card particularly fits anywhere. I would probably give this card the combo meme potential in that it could probably go in a Gonk deck and help you out there. There may be some crazy OTK if you can get like 6 claws, but I think that's still a stretch to make that work into an OTK. So I would definitely say combo meme at this point, not competitive. It's not quite good enough, even though the side quest requirement's actually pretty low, especially like in a quest druid, because you spend most of your first turns attacking anyway with your hero power. But I don't think the reward is really worth it or lends itself to that kind of style of deck. All right, the next Druid card is another side quest, Strength in Numbers. Spend 10 mana on minions, reward, summon a minion from your deck. Again, it seems like this card doesn't quite fit in any of the archetypes that Blizzard's pushing this expansion, so I would give this card another meme combo rating. It's kind of difficult to pull out the minion you want. You have to build your deck in a very specific way. But I mean, obviously, like you could try to pray to draw RNGesus and pull out a Malagos and win that way really, really fast. So there's definitely some possibilities here. Like say like with this card, like say like the only minion you run is Malagos, and then you spend 10 mana on minions through like spell generation, like getting the card that gives you 3 Treants in your hands, that still counts. So playing those 2/2 Treants out of your hand from a spell. So you could potentially target one card like a Malagos and pull it out actually incredibly fast, assuming you collect the burn as well. So I would say there's definitely some meme combo potential in here, but it's very difficult to pull off, and it's going to take perfect draw RNG to make it work. Or you could put it in a big style Druid, which I don't think there's quite enough support for right now, at least in standard. So I would definitely still say meme combo potential for this card. All right, moving along. The next card is Tree Enforcements, which is a 1 mana Druid spell. Choose one, give a minion 2+ health and taunt, or summon a 2/2 Treant. So this card obviously has Quest Druid synergy and Treant synergy, but is it good enough in either one of those? I think it probably goes in the Treant Druid build just to give you another Treant activator. It's probably okay, but I don't think Treant Druid is going to be the best version of Druid. Let's put it that way. I don't think it's going to be even tier 3. Probably tier 4 or tier 5 Treant Druid. So while it gives support to Treant Druid, I wouldn't say it's super competitive. So the other question for this card is, does it belong in a Quest Druid build? And I would say it would classify as a fringe card in that respect. I would say it's going to be in some Quest Druid builds, but not all, because it does provide you an early game option against aggro, just playing a 1 mana 2/2 without a quest activation just to survive, which is nice. And it provides some late game benefit when you get the double effect of giving a large minion even more health and taunt. So I think it will be in some Quest Druid decks, but not all. So I think it classifies it as a fringe card. Boy, this next card is a doozy. Breath of Dreams. Draw a card. If you're holding a dragon, gain an empty mana crystal. So basically, wild growth and draw a card if you have dragons. I think this is the card that single-handedly pushes Dragon Druid into a playable archetype because it's so incredibly powerful if you play this on turn 2. So to me, Dragon Druid will be a competitive deck, and this will be in every single one. So this classifies this card as competitive. It's going to be seen a lot if Dragon Druid can maintain itself, and it seems like it will be able to with the number of good neutral dragons that are coming this set. So, oh boy, that's going to be a pain to deal with. All right, next card. Shrub Adir. It's a 2 mana 1/1 Druid minion. Battlecry, summon a 2/2 Treant. So you kind of heard my thoughts on Treant Druid a little bit. I don't think Treant Druid is going to be the top tier Druid archetype this expansion, so I would probably classify this card as garbage. Even though it definitely fits in a Treant Druid build, just Treant Druid is just not strong enough. I think you'd be better off building a smaller token aggro Druid with Embiggen without Treants and just going that kind of direction instead. So I would say Treant Druid will not be in tier 1, 2, or 3, and this card I would classify as garbage. Even though it's a cute card. Alright, next card is a 5 mana Druid spell, Aeroponics. Draw 2 cards. Cost 2 less for each Treant you control. It's an interesting card because it can essentially cost 0 to draw 2 cards, which is very, very good. And even if you just get 1 reduction, it's basically Arcane Intellect. So again, is it worth running Treants to run this card? No. So that's a pretty obvious no. I'm going to classify this card as garbage, even though it can be quite strong. Druid already has access to quite a lot of good draw options already, and Treant Druid is just not quite there. This card obviously has good synergy with Garden Gnome or even Force of Nature. With Garden Gnome, it costs 1, and with Force of Nature, it costs 0. So if you're going to build a Treant Druid, this obviously goes in. But again, Treant Druid, not good enough, and therefore garbage. Alright, next card is a big old dragon for Druid. It's a 6 mana 4/8 taunt Dragon Tribe. Taunt, Battlecry, discover a dragon. I mean, this is an auto include in any Dragon Druid deck. It has a great body, great stats, has taunt, and it gives you the ever important dragon in hand to synergize with your other dragon cards. So this is a no-brainer competitive card. If you're assuming Dragon Druid's going to be competitive, this is in every single one. When I see the 4/8 stat line with taunt, it makes me immediately think of Primordial Drake, which was actually run quite a bit back in the day. Of course, Primordial Druid has the board clear effect, but this has the value effect, so it's also 2 mana cheaper. It's incredibly strong, and we'll be seeing it a lot if we see a lot of Dragon Druid, so competitive for sure. Oh boy, the Druid legendary minion. Goru the Might Tree, 7 mana, 5/10 taunt, Battlecry. For the rest of the game, your Treants have +1/+1. I know we've just started the review, but I can pretty much confirm this is the worst legendary of the set. If you open this one, it's a feels bad man for you. it's just not good enough. It's too expensive for what it does. If this was like a 2 mana card, like a 2 mana 2/3, then yeah, it would actually be pretty good. I think that's where it kind of needs to be. It needs to be like a 1 mana or 2 mana card. At 7 mana, the effect is completely pointless, and the stats are the exact same as Ancient of War, which sees like no play right now. So not even in Quest Druid do people typically run Ancient of War. They get it off the Worthy Expedition sometimes, but it's not good enough as is, and it's way too expensive for the archetype it's trying to push. So probably the worst legendary of the set. Probably one of the most disappointing ones. So yikes. Okay, the other Druid legendary minion. This one is more appetizing. It's a 9 mana 4/12 dragon, USERRA Unleashed, Battlecry. Shuffle 7 Dream Portals into your deck. When drawn, summon a random dragon. This card is incredibly powerful because the average dragon is still fairly decent. I mean, there's a lot of dragons that were added this set, so assessing what the average dragon you'd pull off a portal is kind of hard to assess right now. But suffice to say, it's pretty good. I could see this card being run in non-dragon druid decks. Even in Quest Druid, this could go in because some people even run Chef Nomi in Quest Druid just to get that large effect at the end of the game. This is essentially just the same thing. It's very much like a Nomi card if your deck is empty or near empty because it's going to fill your board with powerful minions like a Nomi does. So I actually could see this card replacing Chef Nomi in some decks. So it's absolutely competitive in and out of dragon decks, which is impressive. So I think we'll be seeing USERRA a lot because the average dragon is pretty strong. So I like this card a lot, and I think we'll be seeing it a lot as well. Very cool card. Very cool. Alrighty, let's look over Druid one last time before we wrap things up here. So overall, embiggen competitive, secure the deck, combo meme, strength in numbers, combo meme, tree enforcements, fringe, breath of dreams, competitive, Shrub Adir, garbage, aeroponics, garbage, emerald explorer, competitive, Goru the might tree, garbage, and USERRA unleashed, competitive. So overall, Druid has some very interesting ideas going. I think it's kind of cool. They kind of push 3 archetypes, and I think 2 of them work successfully. So that's a plus to Blizzard there. But Tree and Druid, man, they keep trying it and it still hasn't worked to this day. So I don't think it's going to start working now. But I would be excited for Dragon Druid. That would be something new and different. So that is Druid. Thank you guys so much for watching. Look forward to the next review.